My name is Lue-Hing. I, along with the Jamaican Diaspora Advisory Board Northeast Future Leader team members, welcome you to this event and are excited and happy that you all were able to join us, especially on a weekday, a work day, after work in Manhattan, which is not easy to get into on a Friday when the weather is warm. So we really appreciate you all struggling through the traffic and the pain to be here here for this cause. And so I'm just so appreciative. I will ask if the Consul General of Jamaica within New York is here, G. Lamont, to give opening remarks. We thank him so much for helping us and providing us with this space, and he will open things up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, future leader. Well, first, let me welcome you to Jamaica. On a reasonably bright, well, it's now evening, and it reminds us of Jamaica, real Jamaica, not the one in Queens. And as I have always said to people, it's always good to be in Jamaica, away from Jamaica. This is a piece of Jamaica that is in New York with some officialdom to it. Well, as young people, and I see some people with gray beards like me, and I think they're temporarily young this evening. We must thank you for exposing us to the talents we have amongst our future leaders generally. And it gives me an idea that from now on I'd like to have all your particulars that we will incorporate you in everything that we do for old people. Because that's where we're going to get the sense of continuity and succession planning. But I just want you to understand why we are all here. And I've seen you lined up properly. I know, I'm sorry, I am not going to be able to stay, but I'm sure I see cameras and I will get a chance to see some of the proceedings. But in 2003, the Jamaican government decided that they really wanted to have a better relationship with Jamaicans overseas. And they've tried many ways to have come to this point, but it wasn't quite the same of engaging the Jamaicans who live overseas. They've tried returning residents, unit packaging and all that concession. But after all, the people who were benefiting were the ones who are now leaving overseas to come home. So what about those who remain? That's where the real partnership was seeking, because once you come home, you're part of everybody on the rock. You still have some people out there who we want to be included in everything we do. As we speak of Jamaica without border, a borderless Jamaica. And some people used to tell us about brain drain. And of course we lost a lot of talents when some of your parents moved abroad. And some of my peers moved abroad. But soon there was another school of thinking. It's not brain drain, but brain gain if you find a way to mobilize those people who you have outside of the Little Rock and incorporate them in a partnership with what we do at home. And this is what all of this is all about, the diaspora movement, to make sure we bring everybody along with us. Because if we're going to build a Jamaica for those who were born there, those who have a natural claim to a Jamaican passport and therefore are also citizens, we want you to be part of the discussions, part of the planning. When we set out to do policies, we want you to participate in its development. And this is what we're all about. I'm not going to get into the depth of everything this evening because this is not my evening. But I must tell you, I'm overjoyed to see the showing of the faces you have, and it tells me that there's an interest in Jamaica that transcends my generation. And we wanted to keep this going. I see some of you are in electronic media. Some of you are in business. And these are the people we want to be very involved. We want you to step forward and be more vocal We want to see you more regularly. And I hope this, which is maybe your first of your, let's call this inaugural future leader arrangement, because I was asked a question today by Kingston and I don't have an answer. How many persons are coming to the conference? And because normally we have, in the past we had a delegate conference, we could always catalog who was coming. But this conference, and last year's was too, it's a participant conference. So you don't have to sign up with anybody to tell me that you're going. What they're hoping to do is to pick up attendance from the registration that would have been done by persons participating. And I don't know if it's too late, but we still want to encourage you, young, upward and mobile, to be in Montego Bay between the 13th and 18th of June. If you are planning a vacation, take a couple days out to come to the conference. We look forward to seeing you there, and I look forward to see the outcome of this evening's deliberation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Consul General. We really appreciate you opening up this ceremony and opening up this event and giving us again the space and the encouragement to do this. Miss Universe Jamaica, Miss Casey Fennell, was asked the following question: what is the greatest contribution of your country to the entire world? And I would open this up to any of our panelists here. What would you say is the greatest contribution of Jamaica to the entire world? This is just to start things off a little, break the ice.
We have this thing about us, and I like to look at it from a historical point of view, and it's the kinds of slaves that came to Jamaica, the more fierce and proud ones, and we have that blood is still in us, and so wherever we go, we want to be the best, we want to be our best, and that just shines through to everybody else.
I think you may have been able to win the pageant. So thank you so much. And that was just to break the ice a little bit. I just want to introduce our panelists very briefly. On my right-hand side, joined with us virtually, I believe, is Miss Patria K. Aarons. She is a television personality for CTV in Jamaica, as well as a young entrepreneur who started her own company called Sweetie's Confectionery. It is one of two Jamaican-based confectionaries in Jamaica that features true Jamaican flavors such as jackfruit and Jew plum. Very dynamic young woman. I also have to the left of Patria, Mr. Devin Harris, who is one of the founding members of the Jamaica National Bobsled Team, one of the figures that was the inspiration for the movie we might know as Cool Runnings. And we were so delighted that he could be here with us. Yes. We also have Mr. Glenroy March, who is a fashion designer and entrepreneur in many, many different ways. He is the CEO of the House of Demarche, or Demarche Couture. And a dynamic young man. And like I said, just tirelessly works for the youth. He has a fashion show tomorrow, and he's here. So, yes, thank you. And to his left, we have Miss Natasha Scott, who is another dynamic woman who's been working so diligently in the community for young people. She is the author of the College Bible, Admissions Bible, Everything You Need to Know About Applying to College, which is so important, especially for our high school age youth. That is something that they critically need when they're applying to college. I know that's something I needed when I was applying to college, so I just really appreciate your contribution, Miss Natasha, and look forward to what you have to say as well. And to my left, we have the lovely Miss Chantel Frazier. She is a CEO as well, a wonderful, fabulous female entrepreneur who is the CEO of a talent agency called Flawless NYC. She is also a participant on TV, on Bravo TV's Blood, Sweat, and Heels. And so she is absolutely dynamic, worked from the bottom up very much so, is actually based in London, and she came here to the United States and made her way. So she has a powerful story as well to share. Thank you for being here. And then to her left, we have the wonderful Miss Felicia Loud, who is a dynamic. I know many of you already know. You're already shaking your heads, yes. You may know her as the radio personality Carib Mix Radio on 93.5. She is also an author of the book, a children's book called The Adventures of Queen Africa, because she is actually a wonderful advocate for autism awareness and special needs awareness for education among our youth. And she has many, many powerful things to say, but she has her entire heart into that initiative, and I'm excited for what she has to share as well. Thank you for being here, Miss Felicia. Thank you. And last but not least, we have Mr. Omar Hawthorne, who is the Director of Franchise Development and Community Affairs for Golden Crust. He is a part of a long-standing family tradition owning Golden Crust, started by his great-grandfather. And he does a number of things in the community for young people, especially for education, gathering school supplies, and truly understands the marriage between working hard and giving back to your community. So I'm so delighted that he's here as well. Please give him a hand. And we also had another person that was supposed to be with us tonight, but again, as we young people are so busy with different things, something came up and she wasn't able to be here with us. We had Miss Sherry Ann Coey, who was supposed to be here. She's an NYU AIDS and HIV researcher who specializes in understanding the impact of the Caribbean and specifically Jamaican culture in how HIV and AIDS impacts our communities here in the United States. And HIV and AIDS is a serious issue in Jamaica because it's actually the #2 killer of young people between the ages of 15 and 24 in Jamaica, and a lot of people don't know that. And so she knows the importance of that work, and she just got the call that her dissertation looks very, very good, but there has to be revisions that she has to make, and she has to make them by tonight. So she's home working on her dissertation, and she let me know this evening that she won't be able to be here with us, but we'll still try to take those questions and have them answered to you at a later date and posted on our website. So thank you so much to our wonderful panelists for being here. Please give them a round of applause. Okay, so I'm just going to start off with questions posed specifically to the panelists. I promise that there's going to be nothing that's too surprising, so don't feel shy. My first question is going to be for Miss Felicia Loud. And Miss Felicia, you wear many hats, and you are best known for your on-air personality as a leading Caribbean radio host. However, your latest project is a children's book that I was just talking about entitled Autism Awesomeness, The Adventures of Princess Africa, based on the story of your daughter, Africa, who is autistic. In Jamaica, education for special needs children, especially those children with autism, is very scarce. And one school that is making strides in educational opportunities for autistic children is the Adonia School. And the Adonia School was founded by a young teacher, Ruth Lynn James, and the school is approved, regulated, and monitored by the Jamaican Ministry of Education, and it caters to the autistic and special needs of children. And Ruthlyn was inspired by the lack of resources available to autistic and special needs children, just as you were frustrated with some of the experiences you had with your daughter. So I just wanted to ask you, what inspired you to write this book and to go on this journey?
Well, is it working? Yes.
You can hear her?
We're good?
Thank
okay.
you.
Okay, so in regards to my inspiration, as a radio personality and an actress, I know it's fun when people listen to me. It's entertaining. You laugh. You go about your day. But the older I got, I realized that there has to be something more that I'm talking about other than just entertaining you lightly on the radio. And I wanted to talk about something that means something to me. So when I'm speaking about it, the conviction, the experience, and the motivation behind it comes from a real place. I couldn't figure out what that was until my daughter was born. When she was born actually in Florida at St. Mary's Hospital. There's a long story, which I probably will do a book about that, about how she came into the world and the difficulties that I faced at the hospital. But that's a different situation. With her turning 1 year old, her daycare looked at me. They said, Felicia, please don't be offended or feel any kind of way, but I've been doing some research and your daughter is showing signs of autism. Now, as a Jamaican and a mom, I was very offended. Because that's one thing about us Jamaicans. We are very, very brilliant people, but our pride gets in the way a lot of times. So the moment she told me that, I went home, I said to my husband, this is foolishness. She said, well, something wrong with my pitney, nothing wrong with my pitney. So I said to myself, all right, she explained some of the things she saw. And in my head, I'm like, all right, that just means I should get her in a school, an actual school, instead of a daycare. So they could teach her things that I can't teach her because I'm working. I take her to the school, register her. 2 weeks into school, the teacher pulls me aside and says, Felicia, Africa is not responding. Her name is Africa. Africa is not responding to her name. She has no eye contact. Her walking on her toes, she's a toe walker. It makes her center of gravity off balance, so she falls a lot. She doesn't interact with the other kids. And she's very clingy. She doesn't want to do anything that she doesn't want to do. She's very self-directed. So I said, lady, where I try to say? That's when she said, we think you should have her evaluated. I'm like, what does that mean? She said, we think Africa might be on a spectrum of autism. And that's when I started crying in front of the principal, the teacher, the therapist, everybody. Because at this point, another complete stranger is telling me the same thing the daycare told me 2 weeks prior. So this is when I said, no, okay, this is not going to be about me anymore. What is it I need to do? They said, well, if you call 311, you can ask for an early intervention package. They'll send it to you, you fill it out, and you get free therapy. I say, as long as it's therapy and I'm not giving my child no medication, I will look into it. I did that. The psychologist came. They did her evaluation. The psychologist looked at me and she said, Felicia, with all of what we found here today, Africa is on the spectrum of autism. She will receive free therapy. And Africa got speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, pretend play therapy, and an ABA teacher. All of that. About 25 to 35 hours a week. Some of which was done at home and some in the classroom. Now, when the therapist comes to the house, I watch to see what they're doing so that when they leave, I can continue it. Because my child with this autism thing, she is not going to be stereotyped and pigeonholed into anything. So whatever I need to do, she is going to either grow it out or do very well with it. So with that said, she is now going to be 4 in August. She went from not speaking at all to started talking 8 months ago. And when she started talking, it wasn't 1 or 2 words. She just read a book for me. She just read the book. She said, Mommy. She said, Mommy, read it. I opened the book to read to her, and Africa started saying the words that she was looking at. I always noticed her obsession with her tablet. She listens to the ABC over and over, the song over and over. And I noticed that she has an obsession with the letters. And because she has an obsession with the letters, and this is a beautiful thing about children with autism, they are brilliant. Because she has the obsession with the letters, she loves them. And when she sees them in words, it makes her automatically want to spell the word. And then after she spell it, she wants to sound it out. So she's now saying the word. So yes, she might walk on her toes and might not have great eye contact and repeat everything 3-4 times. But she is a brilliant reader at 3.5 years old. Right. seeing the help she got is what made me decide to do Autism Awesomeness. Because I remember as a child going to primary school on Walton Park Road, a lot of the children in my class were called slow, backwards, fool, dunce. Nobody was ever called autistic or on the spectrum of autism. Why were those children slower? Why are they called dunce? Why you feel like them fool? Why them called bad? Because when we see kids throwing, because my daughter used to throw tantrums, but the tantrums isn't because she's bad. It's because she can't tell me what she wants. And she's trying to communicate with me, and I cannot understand, and I can't read her mind. She gets frustrated.
Right.
And that's why they started teaching her sign language first. Because the moment, I didn't even know you had to teach a child how to point. The moment she was able to just point to the juice or point to the food, her frustration level went down and the tantrums got less. So I said, you know what? With all the children that are being called dunce and fool at Jamaica, I'm going to have them evaluated. And I'm going to have them evaluated by the therapist that helped my child. And in order to raise funds for that, I'm going to write about my daughter's experience, and I'm going to have people buy the book, and I'm going to use the money, and I'm going to take people, all the therapists, the psychologists, the ABA teacher, the speech therapist, and the physical therapist to Jamaica to give free evaluations for children 6 months to 5 years old. Because that's one thing with America that I've noticed. Everything that I mentioned my daughter is receiving is free. We don't have nothing like that. So I'm going to create it. And if I can't get help from the bigger heads, I'm going to do it myself. Because if I'm on the radio and I'm influential, then I'm going to speak about something that needs attention for people to help me to get this done. So my inspiration behind writing Autism Awesomeness is my child. My little girl that I watch go from 0 to 85% in about a year and a half because she got help. So I also want to encourage people in Jamaica, parents, to not feel bad about your child having autism. And I can say that because I was one of those parents. I didn't want to carry her anywhere because we never want to have to explain to people why she's doing the things she's doing. I didn't want to have to explain to people why this little girl that looks like she's 4 years old will not respond to you when you speak to her. I didn't want to have to explain myself because I was prideful. So that is also something that I'm advocating. I would also like to set up a support group for parents going, because it's not easy, but you have to just stick with it and love them and give them the help they need and admit it to yourself that they need help. So that is definitely the inspiration behind Autism Awesomeness, is the fact that kids can get results if their parents allow them to.
That's right.
Yes, I'm going to stop now.
Thank you. This is actually a question for both Ms. Chantel Frazier and Ms. Patria Kay. I'm not sure if she was able. Hi, Patria. Isn't that cool? So Jamaicans have an entrepreneurial spirit, and it is no secret that especially women across all cultures are increasingly emerging as business leaders. That entrepreneurial spirit has been the foundation for Jamaican women, whether they are members of the diaspora or still reside at home. In addition, the growth of businesses in Jamaica, especially women-owned businesses, are slated to play a large role in Jamaica's forward development. And so again, I'm going to actually ask this question of the two of you and invite you to share your unique stories. So to Chantel first and then to Patria Kay, please tell us your story and about your backgrounds and how your heritage allowed you to start your own businesses.
Sure. Hi. Can you hear me? Mic working?
I can pass this one to you if it's a little bit better.
It's a little low, right? I'm not as, my voice isn't as, I don't want to say loud, but. Hi, everybody. So I am British Jamaican. My parents came to England at a very young age, at 8 years old. But we had a very, very strong traditional Caribbean upbringing. My parents always taught us that being that we were first and foremost Jamaicans, and we also were representing Jamaica in England. So anything that we did as British Jamaican people would be a reflection on the homeland. So we were always taught that we had to be very mindful of our behavior as Caribbean people living, as minorities living in England. We have, I think, 2%, it's 2% black in England. So, we are really the representatives for Jamaica. And we were definitely instilled that kind of sense of pride being Jamaican, the sense that we were mighty. And, I think what the gentleman said what's the gentleman's name?
Mr. Devin Harris.
Yeah, what Devin Harris said really resonated with me, because that is exactly how I was brought up. We were taught to believe, okay, we were the biggest island, that we were the best. And so from a very young age, it was drummed into me that, I was going to be a lawyer, that I was going to go to university, that, that I was going to be the best version of myself. And just to make sure that, one of the few people outside of Jamaica in England, I had to make sure that I was going to be the best. So that definitely was one of my, I'd say, reasons why I have kind of taken an entrepreneurial path. And also the principles that my parents instilled in me. One of the first ones that they taught us was to never let fear stop me from doing anything, because fear is the number one saboteur of success. Mm-hmm. So whenever I feel fear, I was always taught to believe to face that fear. Because if you don't face that fear, then what will ensue is really the only possibility is failure. So for me, my fearlessness has definitely helped me become a successful entrepreneur. I founded my business at 27 years old from my bedroom. I had no money to speak of, nothing, just literally a Rolodex and my phone card, my contacts, and just really a vision and that self-belief that I was brought up with. So I always knew that even though I didn't necessarily know how I was going to get to where I was going, I knew that I just had to kind of take the first steps. And from that, I knew that doors and opportunities would come to me. And another principle that I was brought up with was to never let my circumstances dictate my success. Especially being, a minority in England, where, we're subjected to, a lot of racism. You're typically the only black child in the school. And, it can be very difficult growing up, but I never believed that was ever going to stop me from getting to where I wanted to be. So they always said that regardless of my class, my color, my gender, that was never ever going to stop me from achieving greatness or success. So, I started Flawless from my bedroom. Within, say, a year, I had an office in Soho, and I have a strong workforce, and we've been in business for about 10 years. And I've since become a cast member on a very popular TV show called Blood, Sweat and Heels, which has given great exposure to my business, so I'm very proud of that. And so the journey is continuing, really. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Excellent. So moving along, I'm going to have a question for Mr. Glenroy March now. So be ready. Jamaica, more than ever, is seeking to foster an environment that gives wings to the creative genius of their youth. If the energies and creativity are not harnessed in productive ways, Jamaica will fall short of its economic and social goals. More than ever, Jamaica vows to marginalize no one. As we are also a very practical culture, many young, creative people want to follow their passions, but they don't know exactly how or may not have the support that they are looking for. To Mr. Glenroy March, could you please share your story as a celebrated fashion designer and entrepreneur, the challenges you faced, and what allowed you to achieve and sustain your success today?
Hello? Good.
Okay, I think this question is going to break up in two parts. I will talk about my story, and I'll try to come up with a solution to where we can fix that problem.
Thank you.
1, 2. Okay, so I think growing up in Jamaica at an early age, I know I always love fashion. It's simple and easy as that. But that's not what my parents have for me. Jamaican parents always think that you have to be a lawyer, have to be a doctor, you got to be a teacher, a policeman. But for me, no, I don't want to do nothing else. It's as easy as that. So my mom was, maybe I could say the one that worries more, but my grandmother said something that stick with me. Let the boy do what he want to do. And I think a lot of you can relate. It means I can let him do what he wants to do. And it gives me the okay at that point that although my mother may feel bad and think that I won't have enough money to survive, because at one point she says, you just go cut all cloth for people. And that lives with me too. But it makes me work harder because I prove to her that all cloth can make money. So it's I think the problem in Jamaica is the creative side is because you don't have a paycheck. At the end of the week, you not have $350. Okay, $100 is for rent, $2 is for here and there. Being a creative person, you don't. I always tell people is what you put in is what you're going to get back in return. So for me, it was hard. I won't say it's easy. It'd be easier if I had a 9-to-5. But as long as you believe in yourself and you have a dream and you have a vision and you stick with it, I think it's very important, and that's what I did with mine. Cut my story short, I worked in the hotel first for Super Clubs for years, and I saved my money. And then on my day off, I drive into Kingston to buy fabric. Then we used to have passes to the hotel, and I found a seamstress from St. Elizabeth, and the passes that the hotel give me, I use it to sign her in. And from the hotel, I did my first show, which was Caribbean Fashion Week in 2003. So again, you have to do what you have to do to get to the next level. Then after I saved enough money working at the hotel, at 20 years old, I leave and went to Montego Bay, opened my first couture showroom. And it was good because I know the people in the hotel. So all the entertainers, I did their clothes, all the costume I do, and I create a great name. Fashion is about illusion. It's all about how you set up, how you look, how you deal with the clients. Good. So I get that done. Went to Canada, represent Jamaica, and I won that competition. And okay, my eyes open up again. Okay, I need to move again. And I decide, I make some calls, try to figure some stuff out. And I did. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to move to America. It's as easy as that. I am going to move to America because I want to bigger. I start to read the Vogue, the Elle, and all the bigger magazines. So I said, okay. And funnily, I just planned, okay, I'm going to leave in 6 months. And literally, I did. When I got to America now, of course, you all know there's papers to figure out where I'm going to start. It's not at home where I can turn to somebody and say, can I borrow some money? You know? So, but what I did was I went back to work. So instead, I go straight into the fashion, but at nights I go home, I sew. But as time goes by, I have these side jobs that I have to go to when I don't really want to go. But I know I have to do that in order to get to the next level because I've done it in Jamaica before. So, and I did that and I push and I made my way through. A lot of times people ask, how do you maintain? Because that's all I've been doing full time for years, which a lot of creative person, a lot of designers cannot. They have part-time jobs. I think if you have a strong foundation, you know, it's very important if you go anything in the arts, and singer, an entertainer, a dancer, a fashion designer, or any entrepreneur, you have to have a strong passion for what you do. And as long as you do, you work for free. 24 hours, late at night, you're up. You still keep going, even when you don't have no money. I plan shows without money, and you'll be surprised how the show comes off amazing. So you have to just believe and just keep going. Building relationship is key. My number one source is relationship. I can call anyone. Like I can tell you guys, for the men's weekend this season, is I partnered with one of a big company, Coco Matt, and it's true relationship. Another friend said, here we go. There are models that I build relationship with over and over. I can say, girl, I need you, honey. You know, so, but you also have to look out back for them. You can't just keep take. So if she come and said, can I borrow a dress? You can't say anything. She can have, if you just make one. You know, so it's just about how you structure your business. And the creative environment, it's a really good place, but you also have to be strong because people will tear you down, as well as your family. Like, why didn't you go back to school? Okay, we'll give you the money to be a doctor. But that's not what you want. So you also have that stress and level that you have to deal with at home too, not only dealing with editors or people saying stuff about the brand. For me, is the brand have grown so much. We have 2 collections, the Dimanche Couture, the DM by Dimanche, which is the ready-to-wear collection. And we just launched, 6 months ago, our cosmetic collection that is doing excellent. So it is really good. I wrote a book for the 10-year anniversary called Rouge, and it does very well in the fashion schools, and it does very good for young people. We got to find a way how we partner. What it is that I dump my story in 10 years in it. So it shows like, it's almost like you can take it and model your life off it if you want to create a brand. So this is what I love. These are the people. And you can see how I've grown from a club show to a bigger space and traveling. So it will be good for young people. And I use it because I do critique at NYU, at FIT. I cover some lecture class here and there for the young people. And the book plays a lot because they ask the question every day, how do you do it? But I don't have the money. The truth is you don't need the money. You just need to know where you're going, and you just need to have a dream. And I think that's where it's all starts. As she says, she didn't have the money, but she still believed and she still go. All she had was her contacts. All I have was some pieces from Jamaica from an old collection. So I'm going to wrap up short. Allow your kids and talk to aunts and cousins who don't want your kids to get into arts. It's good. When you really make it, a painter, you can sell a $20 billion painting. A designer at this level, I sell a $2,000 dress. In 5 years' times or less, that dress becomes $20,000. Or in the real couture house, and as I grow, I can do a couture gown for $100,000. So make more money than your lawyers and your doctors, right? So I'll wrap it up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tend to fall in love with their work. I'm speaking on behalf of myself. You tend to fall in love with your work and you're extremely passionate about it. But if you paint a painting, make a dress, draw something, and have it sitting in your room, nobody will know that you have it, nor will it take care of you. So being an artistic individual myself, I had to figure out how to mix that with business. Because if I don't have the business side of it, then my art is just for my entertainment. Now, it's a hobby. So in order for it to take care of you, you have to figure out how to market yourself. And for me, a lot of people I know tend to sit around and wait for investors. I don't know how to do that, especially as a Virgo woman. So what I've done is I've created quite a few ideas, and I've spoken to, as what Dimanche says, relationships. I'm on the radio, so because I'm on the radio, I have relationship with business owners. So if I have relationship with business owners and I have an idea, then why these business owners don't help my idea, especially if my idea benefits the business owners. So it's almost a sense of bartering in a way where it benefits everybody. One of those particular ideas I did was the 12 Faces of Loud calendar. I needed the tri-state area to realize that the young women they're watching in these plays with Delcita and Shabata and whatnot, I needed them to understand that that same woman is the woman they're hearing on the radio. They didn't realize that's the same person. And I said, how can I get my face into the tri-state community? Because they know my voice, but they don't know my face, and they don't know that I'm an actress and that it's the same person. So I decided I wanted to make a calendar. But I didn't just want to make a calendar, and I'm sure not going to make a booty calendar. my calendar needed to have content. It also needed the consumers of the community to benefit. So I went to 12 businesses and I said, if you would like my face and voice to be your brand ambassador for 1 year, you could be a part of my calendar. And what your benefit is that there will be 11 other businesses in this same calendar carrying this calendar in their stores, introducing you to their clientele. So you're now cross-marketing each other, but you're all using my face. So now I'm in 12 different locations where people are handing out this calendar come December to all their consumers who listen to me on the radio, who wants to get discounts at these same places, because every business in the calendar has to offer a discount for the month they're featured. So it was an idea that I got businesses to finance because it benefits them, which then benefits me. But if it was just an idea, it would just keep being that. And once again, as Dimarsh says, relationships. Relationships are way more important than even money. Because your talent as a businessman or a Golden Crust owner or a franchise owner or a talent agency is more valuable to me than what you can give me in money. Because if I need talent for my calendar, I'm going to go see Chantel. And if I need financing for the radio ads, I'm going to go see Omar. So, it's a matter of marketing yourself. Even as an artistic being, it tends to overpower the business side, but the business side is very essential for it to be successful.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Thank you. Thank you both. So I'm just going to ask a question to Ms. Natasha Scott. And as we well know, the future of our students, especially our high school students, is absolutely critical, not only to young people as individuals, but to our long-term health as a community. Although it is a familiar phrase, it still stands that the young people are truly our future, right? Ms. Natasha Scott, you are the author of The College Admissions Bible, Everything You Need to Know About Applying to College. And getting into college can be challenging, especially for minority students. Ms. Scott, I'd like to ask you, what drove you to write this book, and what issues do you think it speaks to regarding young members of our community and what they face when they're approaching their college years?
Hello, everybody. Hello. So I'm first generation American. Both of my parents were born in Jamaica. Came to this country very young in pursuit of better educational opportunities. So my parents did a lot of struggling in terms of trying to find the right avenues for them to go to school. My dad, he was just telling me the story the other day. I've heard the story many times, but he always, tries to relate back to me how when he first came here, he was 12 or 13, and he went to just the regular public school in Harlem where they're living, PS whatever. And just by chance, he had a teacher that realized that here's a young black student who seems to be doing very well in math and sciences. Let me tell him about this specialized high school test that's coming up. You said, being fresh from Jamaica, he knew nothing about specialized anything. My grandma and grandpa, they don't have time to kind of make sure he's going for these tests and whatever. So he just so happened to have a teacher that looked out for him, and that same weekend he went and sat for the specialized high school test and ended up getting into Bronx High School of Science, which is one of the best specialized high schools in New York. And then that led to him going to college, to Cornell University, and then realizing that he wanted to pursue medicine. And now, many, many years later, now he's an ophthalmologist. But just through somebody kind of recognizing his talent and kind of pushing him through education, that's what got him to where he is today. So my mom as well, very kind of similar story of having someone kind of mentor her and reach out to her. So me growing up, education has always been a key thing for my parents, for us. They both are college educated, even though they were first in this country very young and just kind of figured out the ropes themselves. So for myself, my brother, and my sister, it was just a given that we're going to college. So I'll be lucky to say that growing up, I didn't have to struggle at all like how my parents did in trying to figure things out. And then being the youngest of 3 siblings, I watched my brother and my sister before me kind of figure out the ropes of college and all that. For high school, I was very lucky. I went to a very small private all-girls school. And at our school, we had a college advising office. So essentially, we have 2 women who are hired to handhold us through the college process. And I knew while I was there that experience is very special, because a lot of my friends who went to public school or pretty much any other school, they didn't have that. They didn't have these college counselors who were walking them through. They were figuring out the ropes themselves. So I was very lucky to have that support of my parents, have my, being the youngest, having to watch my brother and sister go through it, and then having these 2 counselors who were just like making sure that, all us girls are going to a good school. So after college, I ended up working at a nonprofit that my mom runs in East Orange, New Jersey, Dorson Community Foundation, and we do programs for inner city youth, enrichment programs. Our biggest program is our SAT prep program. So in working with that program, I noticed a very frightening trend, at least to me, that the vast majority of our students that were coming in were seniors. Seniors in high school. They show up, they know they have to take the SAT, so they found out about this class, they're going to take some prep classes. But other than that, they had no idea the process of college. They know SAT, college, but besides that, like essays and recommendations and deadlines, FAFSA, all these other things related to college admissions, they knew nothing about it. And it kind of scared me, because I was like, going to the school I went to, they had us prepped from like sophomore year, like we were ready to go. I knew I could get into any school I wanted to, like just because they had that grained in my mind. But these kids were coming in just like completely clueless, and a lot of them were very bright. When I would look at their transcript, I'm like, you couldn't go anywhere, but they missed deadlines, or they didn't write the essay properly, or they just didn't have a clue. And so I started to write it was essentially going to be a pamphlet of like little tips and tricks. Here's some deadlines you need to know. Here's some cool websites. And I was just going to write it up like a little brochure and give it to our participants. But being me, the more I kept writing and became just obsessed with all of this. Before you know it, I had a 50-page document and this like book essentially. So me and my mom were printing out in her like office, printing out these papers and like stapling it and putting little binders and kind of having this makeshift book and handing it out to the students. And then my mom, being like the momager that she is like, we have to make this something. We have to get this book out there. There's a lot of kids out there besides just our little students here that really can use the help in getting some information about college. So we went through the whole self-publishing process and ended up publishing the book, and was able to, through our connections, through our nonprofit work and working with some of the inner city districts that we work with our programs, got the book into Patterson Public School System, East Orange Public Schools, Orange Public Schools, and just trying to get the book out there. So that really was my motivation, being someone who didn't have to struggle, like heard the stories of my parents having to figure it out, working at the nonprofit and seeing kids who didn't have the same advantages as me having to figure things out, even having my own friends who were in the inner city or just went to regular public schools and having to figure it out. And I just felt like I had a wealth of knowledge, and I'm not going to college again, so there's no use in like keeping this in my brain. I might as well get it out and try and get other students the knowledge and the help to get out there and get to college. I don't remember the second part of your question, because I
think you pretty much covered it.
Maybe I covered it all. So yeah, that's my spiel. That's my story.
Thank you. And so again, thank you so much, Natasha. That's just amazing. It's just, again, it's a repeat. There's a power in sharing our stories, right? Because it's one thing to also ask questions, but it's when we share of ourselves and share our stories, that's when we can really learn. That's the real point of learning, and that's really the jump-off point, as I was saying. That's the seed, because in a lot of ways, we're all just a bundle of stories. And in a lot of ways, there's a connectivity. You're hearing the same things, that this is what I had, this is the vision that I had. And especially the thing about being a young person is that you have a lot of that energy at that point to make that vision a reality. And I think it's very, very encouraging as you share your stories to somebody out there that might be listening, that it especially catches, that they know they can do it too. And again, I'm just going to do the best that we can to keep within the time that we do have, so that we still have time to network and other people will be able to ask questions. So I'm going to ask the last two panelists that we have here your respective questions, and I appreciate your answers in advance. A question for Mr. Devin Harris. who's been very, very patient since that first question. Mr. Devin Harris, again, hardly needs any introduction, because as one of the founding members of Jamaica's national bobsled team and one of the figures who inspired Cool Runnings, we're honored to have you here, and on such short notice, too. He was very, very responsive to the call. You've worked very hard from humble beginnings to help bring Jamaica to the attention of the entire world. And I'd like to ask you, Mr. Harris, thank you, Glenroy, what would be your number one message to young people?
I think that message has been relayed already this evening by all the speakers who spoke. Having a dream, believing in yourself. I speak all the time about not waiting until things are perfect to go pursue your dreams. And if you listen to Glenroy, if you listen to Chantal, who started in her business in her bedroom with no money. If you look on the story of the Jamaica bobsled team, no snow, no ice, no money, no funding. You look at my personal story. I grew up in Waterhouse, and and a year after high school, I was at Sandhurst, the most prestigious military training school in the world. So it's about having a dream, being willing to put the work in, and believing in yourself. When you do those things, miracles happen.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Jamaica still continues to do pretty well and get very far with their bobsled team, even though they don't have the top-notch machinery to practice with. They don't have the same amount of time to practice as everybody else does. But, it's like we always say, we're small, but we're Talawa.
Well, this is true. As if I don't have enough to do, I took over the program just after Sochi. Mm-hmm. And I say it to my team, to the guys on the team, and whenever I go, I'm a motivational speaker, so whenever I go, get a chance to go bore audiences all over the world, and I speak about our team, I said, back in '88, people ask, how can Jamaica have a bobsled team? And we talk about vision, and my vision is somewhere down the road, people are going to be asking, how can Jamaica have a dominant bobsled team? That's where we're heading.
I like that. Not just a bobsled team, but a dominant one. See that? That's right. And the last question, last but not least, always last but not least, Mr. Omar. You are a leader in the well-known company Golden Crust, who is also a very, very gracious sponsor of this event, which was founded by your grandfather, Ephraim Hawthorne. Through this continued family effort, you all continually serve the Jamaican community, not only through food, but also through service to the community. And as a business leader, how important, in your opinion, is it to give back to the community, especially to the youth of the community?
All right, thank you. Good evening. Being the community affairs director, we know that, of course, to whom much is, given, much is expected. That's right. And we give back to the community tirelessly, not only with products that we give to local businesses. A lot of familiar faces here when I first walked in. I've worked with the majority of your companies to assist with helping to offset cost in regards to providing food, but also with education. Again, we are having our June is Education Month for Golden Crust, and we're giving out 60 scholarships next month.
Wow.
And
and that's right.
Yes, it's tremendous. Education cuts through all stereotypes, all biases, and all racism. It's the only thing that cannot be taken from you. And of course, our number one mission, our mission statement every day we walk in, Golden Crust Vision, we exist to take the taste of the Caribbean to the world. But we want to be more of a contributor than that, providing to the students. It's very crucial. And of course, doing more not only here, but also back in Jamaica as well.
That's right.
So we just want that one soccer mom coming home from school. It's in the back of their head. Golden Crust, man, my child got a full ride from Golden Crust. I'm going to always be a customer. Yeah. And it goes that deep, into the, into their head. So we know it works, and it's something that we're proud to do.
Thank you. Thank you. And I just wanted to say something. I received a wonderful call yesterday. Again, I said two of our biggest sponsors for this event tonight are Team Jamaica Bickle and UJA, the Union of Jamaican Alumni Associations. I received a call saying that under the auspices of the Future Leader portion of the advisory board, they are going to be sponsoring 6 young people in Jamaica from one of the area high schools in Montego Bay to be able to attend the conference the day of the Future Leader session. I'll actually be giving a session myself at that conference, and I'm also making sure that it's going to be live streamed for us here back in the States, because not all young people can necessarily buy a ticket to Jamaica and register for a conference. But we're going to be sponsoring 6 young people in conjunction with Team Jamaica Bickle and UJA to be able to attend that conference, and we'll be covering their registration fees, covering their transportation. But what we're also going to be doing is putting together care packages for those 6 students. And that's something that yes. That's something that we together as a diaspora will be able to do for the young people. And of course, I'll be updating you with more information on exactly how you can get involved with sponsoring those care packages and putting those things together. But this can be the starting point in terms of creating that relationship with young people in Jamaica, as well as allowing them to understand the importance of the diaspora here and allowing them to know that there is a community, a much larger community than what is inside their country's borders, that cares about them and wants to continue to work with them to expand their capacity and to expand their potential and expand their dreams in many ways. So I'm very, very proud to announce that, and you can come and talk to me again toward the end of the event, and we'll be posting more information on it as it develops. But I just received that call, and I'm extremely excited and proud that we as young people are going to be doing something so meaningful. Yes. In the interest of time, I'm going to allow for 3 questions from the floor, and after that time, we're going to answer it as best as we can. Also, we have a number of folks that are not necessarily 35 and under, but they are young at heart, and they are a rich repository of knowledge. And if you feel that there is a question that someone's asking that you would be able to answer, I'd also please invite you to address. But we're going to allow for 3 questions. We're going to answer them as best as possible. Please make your questions known. I know you had a question, sir.
How you doing?
Good, thank you.
I'm not sure if you all keep up with business in Jamaica, what's happening in the business community. But do you think your experience as an entrepreneur can be easily replicated in Jamaica right now?
Yes, it can. And I think there are some young people, because on the fashion side I speak on, I do keep up a little, and there are a set of young generation that is amazing. Again, I think what maybe I will need to do, and we could help work along with her, is find ways to help them. They're great talent, but they don't know what to do with it or how to get to the next level. So I do look and read the paper sometimes, and I'm like, he's good. But then when I follow through, there's nothing in place. Like simple thing, no line sheet, no business card, no website. So we need to help. So I thank you for the question, and I think maybe I need to do more and probably share my question. But yes, it can be duplicate.
Yes.
runs from July 13th to the 16th. And I just partnered with Cocomat. It's one of the world's biggest mattress company. And on July 15th, we're launching the men's collection. And that's the official launch for the cosmetics, because we're just adding the shower gel. So now it's fully complete. It's the shower gel, the body scrub, and the shower gel, once again, because it's the most one that I love, and the hand cream.